but philosopher. And look what he wrote. What is the third estate? Oh well, you're not doing that, okay. What is the third estate? Everything. What has it been before in the political order? Up to now? Heretofore? The third estate has been nothing. What does the third estate demand? To become something. Revolutionary ideas. Next. So here it is. This is the Estates General. Notice your dates here. I'm not saying memorize them, who cares? But notice the speed of revolution. It is not something that happens over years. It is something that, what's the Tom Cruise movie, Mission Impossible? You light a fuse on a big bundle of dynamite, and the fuse is like, I don't know, 100 meters long. And you light it, and how long does it take that fuse to finally burn until it explodes the dynamite? Maybe 5–10 minutes? This is the way revolutions explode, very fast. The fuse was lit by, Ilji, sit up. Sit up. No, Ilji, sit up. You're falling asleep. The fuse was lit by the voting crisis and the formation of the National Assembly. Now watch how quickly things lead to an explosion. So here we are, that's the National Assembly, May 1789. Next, that's how it looked. A popular cartoon from the time during the French Revolution. The Third Estate are waking up. Which estate is this? You know, right? You do know, don't you? Black, priest, and the nobility. Oh my God, the other 95% of the population is waking up. You're scared now. Next. Next. Very famous painting of the tennis court oath. Because what? What did Louis do when they declared the National Assembly? I can't hear anybody. What did Jessica?
He had declared unconstitutional.
He declared it unconstitutional, and what did he do to threaten the people who had declared it? He mobilized the army a few times as things were breaking out, but first he just said, you're criminals. You're traitors. Stop this. Get back into the Estates General. This is against the law. And what did they do? They went, oh, and he locked them out of the Third Assembly, out of the Estates General, locked the doors, locked them out. You're no longer a part of this body. So they go to a tennis court, which is an indoor tennis court, and instead of saying, yes, king, whatever you say, you're the authority, like all people who believe in doing what's right instead of doing what authority tells them to do, they said, to hell with you. We're going to swear to each other that we will never give up. And that's the tennis court oath, a huge day in French, even today. It's a holiday. Next. The maps on this are really nice. That's one reason I chose to use this. Europe before the French Revolution. Now remember, why are these other countries important around France? What'd you? They were a threat. Which countries especially were a threat? Let's look at it now. We see the Holy Roman Empire. We see the Austrian Empire. Britain, Spain, Portugal. Papal states, that means Pope, that means Roman Catholic Church. Which ones were the biggest threat? Britain, definitely. Who else? Spain, less so. There was one that was much bigger. Now think about it. The Austrian whore, Marie Antoinette. Her family were the monarchs of the Austrian Empire. So Louis had a natural ally over here, conservative, traditional, monarchical government with an army. If Louis starts facing hot water here, his wife is going to say, Daddy, send an army and help. From Austria. Prussia, which is this area here, it's now Germany and Poland. Prussia was a rising power too, very militaristic, and also related by marriage and blood to Louis and Marie. So, keep going. Okay, so the National Assembly has sworn the tennis court oath. They've drawn the line. All right, Louis, you threatened us. You say you're going to kill us. All right, here we are. Come, come. So what do the people in Paris start? They're rooting for the National Assembly. They want the First and Second Estates to pay. Is it too hot? Needs some air? Okay. So the people in the city, the Third Estate people, are all for the revolutionaries, the rebels. And they start hearing rumors. Oh, Louis is planning a military coup. Louis is planning to wipe out the National Assembly. So what do? I heard there are weapons and gunpowder in the Bastille, in the prison. So mostly women. I love the French women in this period. They're always out front. They're always braver than the men. Mostly women storm the Bastille, climb the walls, beat the guards aside somehow. I picture them with umbrellas, brooms, mops. They storm the Bastille, go inside, and it's a revolutionary act. They don't find anything. There's really nothing in there. But it inspired everybody. Look, the women are fighting for it. The women are fighting for the National Assembly. Let's fight for it too. Louis is on his heels. He's in a boxing match and he has just received a blow to the jaw and he's falling backwards. He's weak. Let's all join. Now's the time. This is a national holiday too, July 14th. This is like July 4 in America. Independence Day in America, Bastille Day. A major holiday in France. I was in Paris on Bastille Day. It was beautiful. It's wonderful. All right, next. 18 people died, blah, blah, blah. Keep going. Blah, blah, blah. The women killed 7 guards. There were men there too. I just like to think of women killing guards. And what do they find? No gunpowder, 5 ordinary criminals, and a couple of madmen. Oops. Darn. Next. Back to Crane Brennan. All right, now he talked about conditions that are present before a revolution. Now, once a revolution starts, what are the patterns that generally, from revolution, any revolution you look at, the patterns that they follow? People start making impossible demands of the government. If the government says yes, that means the government's saying, okay, I'll stop being the government. And the government has its own interests. It has its own interests, the things, its own advantages that it wants to take care of. So it's not going to do that, human nature. The government tries to suppress the revolutionaries, tries to put them down. Louis to the tennis court oath, to the National Assembly. Stop or you're going to prison. Keep going. Yeah. Revolutionaries gain power, seem united, keep going. And then, once the revolutionaries take power, what starts happening? The Third Estate has power. Who's going to start fighting against who now in the Third Estate? Anybody? Jessica?
The bourgeois.
Everybody say it. This is a major word. It will come back up with communism and Karl Marx. Bourgeoisie. Say it.
Bourgeoisie.
And the bourgeoisie is which part of the Third Estate? The merchants, mostly the merchants, the ones who are making good money. They're as rich as the aristocrats, they just don't have the privilege of the status. They don't have duke, marquis, or count in front of their name as a title. They just have a lot of money. But otherwise the aristocrats are like, oh, rich, but no taste, no class. Little bourgeoisie, new rich people. And they resented that. So who are the bourgeoisie going to be quarreling against now that they've got more power, now that the revolution is starting to succeed? Why would they be quarreling against the peasants? Good. Please speak up, because they're... I'm the bourgeoisie. I got power in the government now?
If the peasants feel betrayed.
If the bourgeoisie do what?
If they took power.
If they took power and failed to do what?
Failed to do what? Do things for the peasants.
Failed to do things for the peasants. And that's exactly what they do. The bourgeoisie will take the government, and instead of making it fair for everybody, selfishness starts setting in. Selfishness. The bourgeoisie starts rigging laws and making things work so that it helps us, but we don't really care about the peasants. The aristocrats look down on us, we hate that. We look down on the peasants, they hate that. And the urban workers, and everybody else. And so you start losing unity. Now that's looking ahead. LG, go get some water. Come on back. Next. Okay, so moderates, the people who are like, hey, let's be reasonable, they gain the power, but they can't make everybody stay calm and problem solve. Next. I like this. So the moderates are trying to satisfy everybody, but I got the selfish bourgeoisie on one side. I'm trying to make them give and compromise. I've got the angry peasants on the other. They're demanding more than I can make the bourgeoisie, selfish bourgeoisie, accept. And so the people who start taking power are the ones who are more extreme and angry. And this is a great word. This is actually a phrase in English, the lunatic fringe. What's the fringe? You know what fringe is? This is a fringe right here. It's always at the end. The fringe, women who wear dresses and they have like a fringe at the bottom. So the fringe is like the extreme end of something. So the lunatic fringe is the really crazy people with the most extreme violent ideas on the edges of these revolutionary movements. They start taking power. Because the people who are more reasonable in the center can't keep things calm and rational. People don't want to give anything at all. Go. And then a strong man comes along. Who's the strong man that finally comes along and takes power in the French Revolution? Robespierre. After him, another one. Napoleon. Those of you in my English class is really interesting. If you remember the Republic, we only sort of skimmed over it. But Plato/Socrates says the same thing. Tyranny, one man ruling, goes to oligarchy, a few men ruling, or plutocracy, the rich ruling. And it's a cycle. And then it goes to democracy, because people, the rest of the people get sick of it, and so you have a democracy. But then democracy turns to chaos and anarchy. Everything goes out of control. And then a strong man, a new tyrant comes. So it's a circle, a political circle. And we see it happen here. Plato nailed it 2,000 years earlier. He predicted it in a sense. You have democracy turn to anarchy, the people get sick of the anarchy, and so a new dictator takes power. My prediction for Iraq, the people will get sick of this democratic experiment there because all they're doing now, the Sunnis and the Shiites and the Kurds, are killing each other. They have, they've got elections, they're voting, their government can't do anything because they hate each other too much. They're going to ask for and welcome a new Saddam Hussein because things were better under a tyrant. Next. To them. And then the extremists, the lunatic fringe. Lunatic means crazy, right? From lunar, the moon. They try to create a utopia by introducing their whole program. We're going to do it our way, and we're going to punish and kill everybody, exile something, get rid of everybody who didn't agree with us, so that we can have the perfect society. Next. And that's when terror comes. Robespierre, exactly. So the third estate will start attacking itself. Next. Until people get sick of the terror of the extremists, and then the moderates come back into power. And remember, Robespierre gets his head chopped off. The people get sick of it. And then the revolution's over. Next. Okay, peasants, landlords, people that don't live in Paris. The Great Fear, peasant revolt. You read about this. The peasants in the countryside are also afraid of the landlords of the Second Estate. Because they start hearing rumors that the landlords are going to kill the peasants, going to try to overturn the revolution, all sort of things. That's one reason that